Welcome to Kotler and Keller's Marketing Management Series, Chapter 14, Designing and Managing Services. Let's get started. Learning objectives. How can services be defined and classified, and how do they differ from goods? What are the new services realities? How can companies achieve excellence in services marketing? How can companies improve service quality? And finally, how can goods marketers improve customer support services? The government sector, with its courts, employment services, hospitals, police and fire departments, and schools, be in the service business. The private nonprofit sector, museums, charities, churches, colleges, foundations, and hospitals, is in the service business. A good part of the business sector is also in the service business. Many workers in the manufacturing sector, such as computer operators, accountants, and legal staff, are really services providers. The service component can be a minor or a major part of the total offering. We distinguish 5 categories of offerings on this slide. Restaurants are good examples of hybrid offerings combining products and services. One of the most successful restaurant brands is Panera Bread. Services are equipment-based or people-based. People-based services vary by whether unskilled, skilled, or professional workers provide them. Service companies can choose among different processes to deliver their service. Restaurants offer cafeteria-style, fast food buffet, and candlelight service formats. Some services need the client's presence. Brain surgery requires the client's presence. A car repair does not. If the client must be present, the service provider must be considerate of his or her needs. Beauty salon operators will invest in decor, play background music, and engage in light conversation with the client. Services may meet a personal need or personal services, or a business need like business services. Service providers typically develop different marketing programs for these markets. Service providers differ in their objectives and their ownership. These two characteristics, when crossed, produce 4 different types of organizations. The marketing programs of a private investor hospital will differ from those of a private charity hospital or the VA. Customers typically cannot judge the technical quality of some services even after they have received them. Figure 14.1 shows various products and services according to difficulty of evaluation. At the left are goods high in search qualities the buyer can evaluate before they purchase them. In the middle are goods and services high in experience qualities, which the buyer can evaluate after purchase. At the right are goods and services high in credence qualities, which the buyer normally finds hard to evaluate even after consumption. 4 distinctive service characteristics greatly affect the design of marketing programs: intangibility, inseparability, variability, and perishability. Unlike physical products, services cannot be seen, tasted, felt, heard, or smelled before they are bought. A person getting cosmetic surgery cannot see the results before the purchase, and the patient in the psychiatrist's office cannot know the exact outcome of the treatment. To reduce uncertainty, buyers will look for evidence of quality by drawing inferences from the place, people, equipment, communication material, symbols, and price. Service companies can try to demonstrate their service quality through physical evidence and presentation. Disney is a master at tangibilizing the intangible and creating magical fantasies in its theme parks. And so are retailers like Toys R Us and Bass Pro Shops. Table 14.1 measures brand experiences along sensory, affective, behavioral, and intellectual dimensions. Applications to services are clear. Whereas physical goods are manufactured, then inventoried, then distributed, and later consumed, services are typically produced and consumed simultaneously. A haircut can't be stored or produced without the barber. Several strategies exist for getting around the limitations of inseparability. The service provider can work with larger groups. The service organization can train more service providers and build up client confidence. as H&R Block has done with its national network of trained tax consultants. Some doctors have an excellent bedside manner. Others are less empathetic. Service firms know their variability in their performance puts them at risk. Hilton initiated a major program to create more uniformity in guest experiences. Here are 3 steps service firms can take to increase quality control. Invest in good hiring and training procedures. Standardize the service performance process and monitor customer satisfaction. Services cannot be stored, so their perishability is a problem when demand fluctuates. Demand or yield management is critical. The right services must be available to the right customers at the right places at the right times and right prices to maximize profitability. Several strategies can produce a better match between service demand and supply. On the customer side, differential pricing will shift some demand from peak to off-peak periods. Non-peak demand can be cultivated. Complementary services can provide alternatives to waiting customers, such as cocktail lounges in restaurants and automated teller machines in banks. Reservation systems are a way to manage the demand level. On the supply side, colleges add part-time teachers when enrollment goes up, stores hire extra clerks during holiday periods. Peak time efficiency routines can allow employees to perform only essential tasks during peak periods. Paramedics assist physicians during busy periods. Increased consumer participation frees service providers time. Shared experiences can improve offerings, and facilities for future expansion can be a good investment. An amusement park might buy surrounding land for later development. A service blueprint can map out the service process, the points of customer contact, and the evidence of service from the customer's point of view. Figure 14.2 shows a service blueprint for an overnight guest at a hotel. Behind the scenes, the hotel must skillfully help the guest move from one step to the next. Because U.S. consumers generally have high expectations about service delivery, they often feel their needs are not being adequately met. Savvy services marketers are recognizing the new services realities, such as the importance of the newly empowered customer, customer co-production, and the need to engage employees as well as customers. The internet has empowered customers by letting them send their comments around the world with a mouse click. A person who has a good customer experience is more likely to talk about it, but someone who has a bad experience will talk to more people. When a customer complains, most companies now respond quickly. The reality is that customers do not merely purchase and use a service, they play an active role. Their words and actions affect the quality of the service experiences and those of others as well as the productivity of frontline employees. Customers often feel they derive more value and feel a stronger connection to the service provider if they are actively engaged in the service process. Marketing excellence in services requires excellence in 3 broad areas: external, internal, and interactive marketing. See Figure 14.3. External marketing describes the normal work of preparing, pricing, distributing, and promoting the service to customers. Internal marketing describes training and motivating employees to serve customers well. Interactive marketing describes the employee's skill in serving the client. Technology is changing the rules of the game for services in a very fundamental way. But as companies collect, store, and use more information about customers, they have also raised concerns about security and privacy. Companies must incorporate the proper safeguards and reassure customers about these efforts. Well-managed service companies that achieve marketing excellence have in common a strategic concept, a history of top management commitment to quality, high standards, profit tiers, and systems for monitoring service performance. The strategic concept. Top service companies are customer-obsessed. They have a clear sense of their target customers and their needs, and have developed a distinctive strategy for satisfying them. High standards. The best service providers set high-quality standards. Profit tiers. Firms have decided to coddle big spenders to retain their patronage as long as possible. Monitoring systems. Top firms audit service performance, both their own and competitors, is done on a regular basis. They collect voice of the customer or VOC measurements to probe customer satisfiers and dissatisfiers and use comparison to shopping, mystery or ghost shopping, customer surveys, suggestion and complaint forms, service audit teams, and customers' letters. Satisfying customer complaints. On average, 40% of customers who suffer through a bad experience stop doing business with the company. Companies that encourage disappointed customers to complain and also empower employees to remedy the problem on the spot have been shown to achieve higher revenues and greater profits than companies without a systematic approach. We can judge services on customer importance and company performance. Importance performance analysis rates the various elements of the service bundle and identifies required actions. Table 14.2 shows how customers rated 14 service elements or attributes of an automobile dealer's service department on importance and performance. Quadrant A in the figure shows important service elements that are not being performed at the desired levels. They include elements 1, 2, and 9. The dealer should concentrate on improving the service department's performance in those areas. Quadrant B shows important service elements that are being performed well. The company needs to maintain this high performance. Quadrant C shows minor service elements that are being delivered in a mediocre way but do not need any attention. Quadrant D shows that a minor service element, send out maintenance notices, is being performed in an excellent manner. Customers who view a service as fairly homogeneous care less about the provider than about the price. Marketing excellence requires service marketers to continually differentiate their brands so they're not seen as a commodity. Marketers can differentiate their service offerings in many, many ways, through people and processes that add value. What the customer expects is called the primary service package. The provider can also add secondary service features to the package. In the hotel industry, various chains have introduced such secondary service features as merchandise for sale, free breakfast buffets, and loyalty programs. The service company that regularly introduces innovations can intrigue customers and stay a step ahead of any competitors. Sometimes it can even reinvent a service category, as Cirque du Soleil did. Innovation is as vital in services as in any industry. New service categories are constantly being introduced to satisfy unmet needs and wants. The service quality of a firm is tested at each service encounter. If employees are bored, cannot answer simple questions, or are visiting each other while customers are waiting, customers will think twice about doing business there again. Flawless service delivery is the ideal output for any service organization. The service quality model in Figure 14.5 highlights the main requirements for delivering high service quality. It identifies 5 gaps that prevent successful delivery. Number 1, gap between consumer expectation and management perception. Management doesn't always correctly perceive what customers want. Number 2, gap between management perception and service quality specification. Management might correctly perceive a customer's wants but not set it at a performance standard. Number 3, gap between service quality specifications and service delivery. Employees might be poorly trained or incapable of or willing to meet the standard. They may be held to conflicting standards, such as taking time to listen to customers and serving them fast. Number 4, gap between service delivery and external communications. Consumer expectations are affected by statements made by company representatives and ads. And finally, number 5, the gap between perceived and expected service. The consumer may misperceive the service quality. Marketing Memo. Recommendations for improving service quality offers a comprehensive set of guidelines to which top service marketing organizations can adhere. Researchers identified 5 determinants of service quality in descending order of importance. Number 1, reliability, the ability to perform the promised service dependably and accurately. Number 2, responsiveness, the willingness to help customers and provide prompt service. Number 3, assurance, the knowledge and courtesy of employees and their ability to convey trust and confidence. Number 4, empathy, the provision of caring, individualized attention to customers. And finally, number 5, tangibles, the appearance of physical facilities, equipment, staff, and communication materials. Based on these 5 factors, the researchers developed the 21-item ServQual scale, see Table 14.4. They also note there is a zone of tolerance, or a range in which a service dimension would be deemed satisfactory, anchored by the minimum level consumers are willing to accept and the level they believe and should be delivered. Subsequent research has extended the service quality model. One dynamic process model of service quality was based on the premise that customer perceptions and expectations of service quality change over time. But at any one point, they are a function of prior expectations about what will and what should happen during the service encounter, as well as the actual service delivered during the last contact. Consumers value convenience in services, and many person-to-person service interactions are being replaced by self-service technologies, also known as SSTs, intended to provide that convenience. To traditional vending machines, we can add automated teller machines, or ATMs, self-pumping at gas stations, self-checkout at hotels, and a variety of activities on the internet, such as ticket purchasing, investment trading, and customization of products. Traditionally, customers have had 3 worries about product service. They worry about reliability and failure frequency. A farmer may tolerate a combine that will break down once a year, but not one that breaks down 2 or 3 times a year. They worry about downtime. The longer the downtime, the higher the cost. The customer counts on the seller's service dependability, the ability to fix the machine quickly, or at least provide a loaner. They worry about out-of-pocket costs. How much does the customer have to spend on regular maintenance and repair costs? A buyer takes all these factors into consideration and tries to estimate the life cycle cost, which is the product's purchase cost plus the discounted cost of maintenance and repair, less the discounted salvage value. The quality of customer service departments varies greatly. At one extreme are those that simply transfer customer calls to the appropriate person for action with little follow-up. At the other extreme are departments eager to receive customer requests, suggestions, and even complaints and handle them expeditiously. Some firms even proactively contact customers to provide service after the sale. Customer service evolution is when manufacturers usually start by running their own parts and service departments. They want to stay close to the equipment and they want to know the problems. Over time, manufacturers switch more maintenance and repair service to authorized distributors and dealers. The customer service imperative is when customer service choices are increasing rapidly, but equipment manufacturers increasingly must figure out how to make money on their equipment independent of service contracts. Hey, thanks for watching. Please check out the other videos in the Marketing Management series. Thanks again.